My name is Andre Mack. I'm a director of Lausanne Hospitality Consulting, and today I would like to talk to you about disruptive business modeling. Now, let me first introduce you to a little bit to Lausanne Hospitality Consulting. We are a subsidiary of École Hôtelière de Lausanne, which is one of the leading hospitality learning institutions in the world. I'm being modest here. Some say, industry says that it is actually the number one. Okay, we'll give this responsibility to the industry. So we are a subsidiary. We're in charge of transferring the knowledge developed by École Hôtelière de Lausanne into executive education, into consulting models, into helping other parties to develop learning centers and transfer this to the industry worldwide. So we're active in more than 60 different countries. We have 3 offices, one in Switzerland with about 17, 18 employees. We just have a new one joining lately, and then we're also active in Beijing with an office there with 4 employees, and then another office in India, in Delhi, with 3 employees for the moment. We have been a subsidiary since 2009. Before that, we used to be a department of École Hôtelière de Lausanne for more than 40 years. So we've been around, we've been in the market, we've been transferring this knowledge of École Hôtelière de Lausanne for many, many years. We've developed competencies, unique capabilities also to understand the various cultures which are around there, since one of our particularities that we also hire employees which are coming from these various cultures. This, we believe, is one way to make the difference out there in the market, is when we're going out, when we deliver our services, we are ready. We can talk the same language. We can convince by getting under the skin of various cultures worldwide. So much for Lausanne Hospitality Consulting. I would like to talk to you today about disruptive business modeling. Now, the beauty about this is that you have various keywords in there, especially disruptive, disruption. Now, everybody talks nowadays in all industries about disruption. There seems to be a use and an abuse of the word disruption and disruptive innovation. How many times have I heard, oh, let us create something which is disruptive. Oh, this was absolutely disruptive. Oh, that was a disruptive idea. Wait a minute, guys. What are we talking about? So if we're talking about disruption, let's clarify this. If we're talking about disruption is something which is challenging a status quo, challenging mainly the incumbents in a particular industry, right? So this is disruption. Then disruptive innovation is something which is started low end, at low prices, and slowly moving up in increasing the quality and convincing the mainstream that it could be interesting for them. So typically, in French, we would say, we would look at a disruptive innovation and look at it and say, courage, bonne chance. So this is when you have developed disruptive innovation. Incumbents are overlooking you. Incumbents are very arrogant towards what you have created until the moment they realize that you are taking over their market. Because you're more convincing, because you're coming with a solution which actually is responding to a customer need, which you have overlooked. Okay, so let's take some examples. I love to always start with Uber. Is Uber disruptive? Well, it could be disruptive, but is it disruptive innovation? So Uber definitely was a disruptor because it challenged current incumbents. Okay, fine. So taxis. But taxi is in the mainstream. So taxi has nothing to do with low end. So it's not disruptive innovation. As such, Uber is not disruptive innovation. It just disrupted an existing market. So this is the big difference. Now, if we let's take an example of a good disruptive innovation within hospitality. Well, within hospitality, I wish you good luck. I would say airline, EasyJet. EasyJet is definitely a disruptive innovation model because when it came, it actually created 90% of its market, was a new market, was not traveling at that time, was considering that suddenly traveling was getting an option for them to also fill up their free time. Because it was accessible, it was low end. And what happened is that commercial airlines looked at it and said, okay, well, poof. Okay, our margins are still bigger, our volumes are still bigger, we're still targeting customers which believe in our brand, which consider the quality of service as the most important element. Now the thing is that an airline is an airline. An airplane is an airplane. The security which one has to provide, whether you're a commercial airline or whether you are a low-end airline, is the same. Flying from point to point was still given by both. But the entire business model behind EasyJet, for example, or Southeast Airlines, which started with that, or Ryanair's, was completely different and was allowing a passenger to enter in the plane, buy a ticket much faster, get into the plane without any service, paying a very cheap price. What then happened is that, so it started low end, what then happened is that slowly these airlines have increased, not all though, but have increased the service level, have provided more alternatives in service to the customer, who was then willing to also pay a little bit more. So moving towards mainstream. So disrupting the existing commercial airlines. Okay. So typically an EasyJet would be considered as disruptive innovation. If we're talking about hotel sector, we should ask ourselves whether the latest innovations can be considered as disruptive. Let's look at, and sorry, but I have really to think hard about the various innovations which have come lately into the hotel sector. You know, like a hotel. Let's not talk about distribution channels, no? Let's not talk about the various technologies which have come in, no? Because as such, they have not disrupted the hotel sector. Let's look at, for example, what could we see? Citizen M. That's an interesting business model. Now, Citizen M was created in order to respond to a segment's needs, which was apparently not fulfilled. And the whole business model was created around it. Did it really disrupt the hotel sector? It was just another product. It was just another offering. Very interesting though, responding to needs. But did it really disrupt? No, it started mainstream. Because the customers they were looking at were already there, were already existing, were just choosing another product. So coming back to the earlier definition, they have not, this is not disruptive innovation. Okay? So they just were attractive to a certain segment which was looking for a particular product and particular services, all bundled together, and this is what Citizen M has done. That's why it can be considered as an interesting business model for the industry, as innovative for the industry, but not as disruptive innovation. Let's now look into business models. Why are business models so important? Now, we all talk, especially within hospitality, and say, and we're very proud to say it and to repeat it, that this industry has been changing, is changing very rapidly these last years. And we have to adapt on a regular basis to the ever-changing needs of our customers. Yeah, okay, we can hear that, we can read it everywhere. Have we really changed? Has this industry really changed so much? What has changed? Well, apart from external factors like technology and technology suppliers, which have offered new alternatives, new proposals to sort certain processes, to improve certain ways of delivering the same service. As such, the hotel industry has not changed. Have we developed new business models? apart from Citizen M, have we developed other business models which could have disrupted this industry, which could have started low end to then slowly convince also the middle stream that the quality of the services which are provided are more interesting than the existing industry. Have we developed business models which have created a new market? Well, the answer is no. The answer is no. So now, if we're looking into hospitality, hotel sector, to develop disruptive business models, maybe we should start doing so. Maybe we should be thinking about how could we develop business models which would disrupt our own industry before others are doing the same. I mean, when I think others, Airbnb, for example, I mean, we had this big wave coming in, which suddenly, completely like a storm, went through the entire hotel sector, and the hotel sector looked at it and said, how come these guys, how dare them? Now what has happened is that Airbnb was not created by hoteliers, but it is considered by a new breed of customers as an interesting alternative when looking for accommodation in a destination. Quite many actually. And not being looked at customers as an accommodation solution, but it's looked at another form of customers to Airbnb as accommodation providers. So actually we're targeting two markets here. Business model. Okay? So instead of looking and waiting for new technologies to come and help us do our job better, why don't we think of developing new business models? Why don't we put more energy into developing disruptive business models? And business models is just linking the different elements of your business together. So typically you would be looking at, for whom am I doing this? Which is my target market? Okay, so you look at this. And maybe it would be interesting to look at the target market which currently we're not targeting. Then what is the value proposition which I will provide to this target market? Okay? So these are the two main reflections. And debate about this. Debate with your team about this. Well, to get your team ready to debate about this, you also have to educate your team. Huh? You also have to give freedom to your team to be able to debate about this. Now, once you have defined these two, then the next step would be to identify what is the relationship I want to have, I as a business provider, with my customers. How? What's the link do I want to create? Is it a personal link? Is it a platform type of link? Nowadays, disruption exists through platforms, so we love platforms. Is it a more personal link I want to create, face-to-face link? What do I want to create as a link? What are the utensils, the means I want to use in order to get to my customer? Distribution channels, etc. This will then help you define the revenue stream. How am I going to do money? Because at the end of the day, this is the essence of it, you need to be able to produce money in a consistent manner, maybe also in a creative manner. So that's one side of your business model. Then you move into the other side, which is what type of resources do I need? What do I need in order to be able to provide this value proposition? What do I need in order to provide this value proposition so that it is being recognized as an interesting alternative for existing products to the target customers I have defined? So here, I love to always start in identifying my partners, my key partners. Some entities around me which would consider that this business model, which will be defined by me and which will be offered by me, will provide them also with added value to partner with me. Provide me with knowledge. But then maybe I will provide them with knowledge as well. provide me with databases, provide me with connections, provide me with innovation, research, which I don't have. So let's look at these partners which you're willing to go together for a long time. So you have these partners. These partners could be suppliers, but I'd rather not. Or then key suppliers, really big suppliers, who would supply you with certain products, but also see another overarching objective and value by partnering with you and providing you with something which is for free. Okay. So this is the definition of a partner. Then you would be looking into your key resources. Key resources could be people, could be knowledge, could be also technology. I mean, what do I need in order to be able to produce and offer these value proposition? And then ultimately, you will have your cost model. So on one side you have the revenue model, on the other side you have the cost model. Objective is you add value, and that one is higher than the other one. Hopefully this one is higher, so the revenue side is higher. This is another term I just described, the business model canvas. What I would like to add to the business model canvas is that what is the culture you would like to put in place within your company to be able to provide this business model? So I'd like just to add the values of your company, the culture you have to set up within your company, and it could be that you decide to actually implement what now is called strategic resilience. Okay, so if you want to prepare your organization for strategic resilience, you have to be convinced that a resilient company will be ready to face whatever can happen out there in the market. How do you do that? Is that you trickle down throughout the entire organization a culture where everybody feels free and curious enough to go out there and look at what's going on. In which direction could the market go? Which scenarios are out there which I could get ready for? So you identify all these alternatives, you write them down, you create scenarios, you create solutions for these scenarios, you have them with you, you have them within your company. Should you see that in the coming 6 months or 1 year this is going to happen, you're ready. You're ready to roll out the entire plan. This is what we consider strategic resilience. These overall are tools. Now you understand more about disruption, disruptive innovation, and disruptive business modeling, and what it takes also to be able to define disruptive business models. Thank you very much.